Okay, so we're just at 10 o'clock, and it looks like most people are up and ready to go. So again, let me know if you cannot hear me or are having trouble seeing the screen, or if you don't have the worksheet that goes with the session. So today's webinar is on trends with healthy foods. And I have to thank everyone for your tremendous response with responding to the survey, asking about which trends our participants are asking about. It's always interesting to see across the state what participants are talking about. Okay, so the learning objectives are to identify past, current, and future food trends. And we'll also be talking about what our FNEP response from Cornell should be when our participants want to talk about these with us. So what I'd like you to do for the first thing is write on your worksheet the most unusual food trend that you can think of. On the pig photo is a cronut, one of my personal favorites, the croissant donut. I haven't tried one, but I would like to try one of these days. But they're getting harder to find. The trend has already passed. So who would like to share theirs in the chat box? If you have a really good one, I'll share it with the statewide group. Fried Oreos. Thanks. That's a good one. I have to say I've tried a fried Oreo. It's really good. Oops, I think that's being recorded. But yeah, fried Oreos are good. Raw food, excellent. That is one of the more dangerous food trends. I saw when I was researching this presentation that food trucks are on their way out. Apparently they were considered a food trend, and they're kind of out. Yeah, bacon and everything. And I'm going to talk about bacon in a little while, but especially the bacon in desserts. That's one of my favorite examples to use. Thank you. So looking at trends throughout the ages, one of my personal favorites is Spam, ham in a can. So we saw Spam start to pop up in the 1940s, and it has a really long shelf life. It's actually one of the most popular meats in Hawaii still, so it's being widely consumed. Have you eaten Spam? Press on the raise your hand button if you have. Nice. Yeah, so Spam is still around. Casseroles are a good one too. I didn't know before that casseroles were once considered a trend, but there was a time before the 1950s when we didn't really see casseroles when we had potluck dinners or at big family gatherings. We saw casseroles start to pop up in the 1950s when we saw more processed foods hitting the market. So early casseroles casseroles are considered usually a hot dish. They often have potatoes. They're pretty high calorie, and a lot of the time they're covered with cheese. So processed foods are a key ingredient to casseroles. And then instant and imitation foods in the 1960s, we saw to gain in popularity. Instant mashed potatoes hit the market, freeze-dried coffee, powdered cheese mix, so welcome the macaroni and cheese in a box, and then Tang. So Tang was a big one. Easy cheese also was introduced, bacon bits, Cool Whip, so food that started to look different than the food that we'd seen before. Fondue in the 1970s was everywhere. You could find fondue every time you turned around. So we had breads dipped in cheese, you had meats dipped in oils and cooked like that, and then you had everything dipped in chocolate. So fondues are kind of out now. They're not in so much, although there are some nice fondue restaurants that you can go to still. And we saw an emergence a few years ago of the chocolate fountain, where you could dip chocolates and cakes and anything else, I guess, you want into the fountain. So I guess fondues maybe made a little bit of a comeback in the form of the chocolate fountain. pasta salads in the 1980s were actually considered a food trend. And pasta salads are another one, like casseroles, that's really become mainstream. I think we see pasta salads as a regular part of our food selections. Yeah, pasta salads were at one time a trend. So they're usually cold salads, and sometimes they're mixed in boxes, like the suddenly salads, or you make them from scratch. Pasta salads. One of my personal favorites are in the 90s, the fat-free potato chips. And when I was getting this ready, I was thinking about how one of my first jobs out of college was with a food bank, and it was in the 1990s, and we used to have we had huge deliveries of the fat-free potato chips and candies get delivered because at one point so the company came out with this fat substitute and put it in all of their products, right? And so a lot of companies were jumping on it because it didn't change the texture or the taste of the foods, and it was fat-free, which was amazing. And then it came out that there was a chance that Olestra, which was the substitute, could cause anal leakage. So companies had to put may cause anal leakage on the packaging, which meant that people stopped buying the fat-free products, which meant that the food banks started getting in. I remember a tractor-trailer load of Russell Stover fat-free candies coming in one day. So that was pretty funny. And what's interesting is that we don't hear so much about Olestra anymore, and we don't see as many fat-free products on the market. But Olestra is still in products today, and it's actually just marketed with the light chips and light candied products. It's still the second ingredient. So next time you pick up a bag of chips, if you buy a bag of chips that are labeled as light, look for Olestra, and then see if it still has that warning, may cause anal leakage. Ew. Okay, and then Liam, bacon desserts. So Burger King's the one that comes to mind when I think of this with their bacon sundae, but we saw bacon popping up in everything. I think there were even bacon-flavored alcoholic drinks and bacon milkshakes and bacon everything. So that was the 2010s. So we saw Americans rekindle their love of bacon. So that was considered a food trend in the past. So in the 2000s, we saw foam. So foam was a food trend, and that is a trend that didn't really catch on everywhere, and it didn't stay for very long. But there were mushroom, beet, and meat foams added to dishes to add flavor without changing the structure. And the Atkins diet was another one. I can remember when everyone was on the Atkins diet and wanted to talk about it and how successful it was. But as we know, it wasn't promoting a very healthy diet. So the Atkins diet in the 2000s is also considered a trend. So on your worksheet, what I'd like you to do is write down, for question 2, one past food trend that you have personally observed. And when you've done that, just raise your hand so that I know that people have done it. And anyone that wants to write it into the into the chat box, that'd be great. Macrobiotic diets, excellent. I've known people on the macrobiotic diets. Poutine, yeah, poutine is still a food trend going on up here in the North Country. How about other food trends that you observed? What are a few of the past ones? Salads everywhere, excellent. And the zone diet, yeah, great. Gluten-free, that's going on right now. And actually, Jen Reardon is getting a presentation ready for the next webinar, which will be on gluten-free. And the cabbage diet, excellent. There are a lot of different fad diets. That would be a whole presentation for another day, but there are some crazy ones. Okay, so how about now? What are we looking at for trends that are happening right now? And this information actually came from the Food Marketing Association. And what we're seeing right now is bone broth is really making an entrance. So people are very interested in bone broth and the health benefits associated with it. Alternate protein. We have seen insects used as protein. So that's a big discussion also to have. In a lot of other countries, they actually eat insects as a source of protein much more frequently as part of their regular diet than we do here. And actually, grasshopper flour, we're starting to see in some of our mainstream foods, which was really cool. Chia seeds, gourmet oils, and vinegars. So there are whole stores popping up where you can get specialty oils, olive oils, and specialty vinegars. That's another one. And cauliflower is the new superfood. It's the new kale. So cauliflower is very versatile. It's good for you, and it can be mashed and baked and sautéed and whipped, and it really can be used in a lot of different ways. So we're really seeing this year cauliflower making an entrance into the food scene. So go cauliflower. Oysters. Oysters are the new wings. So we're actually seeing happy hours start to serve oysters instead of serving wings for people, especially in coastal areas where they're easy to obtain. This is an interesting one, is that people that eat meat are actually really starting to embrace eating the whole animal. So a lot of different cuts of the animal we're seeing. So we're seeing people eating tongue and brains, and then vegetarians are embracing the whole plant as well. So we're really taking more of a, using the entire plant or animal for consumption approach. And ancient grains also, there's a higher demand for ancient grains. We've heard a lot about quinoa lately, but now we're seeing spelt and amaranth and lupin making an entrance. Right, so for number 3 on your worksheet, write down one current food trend that you've personally observed. And then write it in the box. Paleo, yes. And gluten-free, yeah, gluten-free is everywhere. When even Walmart serves gluten-free products, you know it's everywhere. Lettuce sandwiches, love it. I've not heard of lettuce sandwiches. Dehydrating probiotic chia seeds. Okay. Oh, and fermented foods, flax, great. Okay, so what can we expect for the future? So here are some future predictions for 2016 that we might see hitting the market. Our flour-infused foods and drinks, actually. So this is interesting. We're seeing some cocktails come on the market that are infused with flowers, and we're also seeing flowers integrated into our meals that are being offered. Everything being pickled or fermented. Fermentation is really popular. I don't know about your offices, but our calls have already started for canning. So there's a real resurgence in canning and processing foods and pickling everything. So we're seeing onions being pickled, eggplant, zucchini, watermelon rinds, and pickled pig's feet. Smoked foods. So So we're seeing a lot of smoked foods and different kinds of smoked foods. So we've seen smoked meats in the past, but we're starting to see some smoked vegetables. And we're also starting to see some smoked salads. Oh, yeah, thanks. And if you wouldn't mind unraising your hand, it would be great. Just for next time I ask you to raise your hand. But yeah, we're seeing smoked foods. Restaurants that are serving a lot of smoked foods or primarily smoked foods. Pizza in a cone is a good one. So this company called Cono Pizza they're from Italy, and they've actually developed a lower calorie pizza crust that's in a cone shape that they're marketing to people. And we're starting to see some different fish hitting the market. So in the past, we'd seen a lot of cod and haddock and salmon. Now we're starting to see mackerel and bluefish, and sea robin and redfish coming to market. 3D printer desserts. So for wedding season this summer and next summer, be on the lookout for confections and sugary desserts made from 3D printers. There's a company right now that's come up with a 3D printer where they can print things using chocolate and sugar. So that's kind of a neat idea. And then again with the alternate proteins, we're seeing companies not only serving insects as protein, but starting to serve out some other foods as well. So the restaurant Zoop actually added a rattlesnake stew to its menu. And what's interesting is that they have a seasonal menu and a standard menu, and they added it to their standard menu, so that they'll serve it all year long. So if you find yourself at a Zoop shop and you want to try something different, you should try their rattlesnake stew. And then send me an email and let me know how it is. Okay, so the apply for this is to look for future food trends. Keep your eyes open. And if you see anything really cool or interesting, please shoot me an email and let me know. Or if you see any of the predicted food trends come true in your community, I'd love to hear about it. Okay. So a couple of months ago, I sent out a survey asking what healthy food trends that you were observing with the FNEP populations in your communities. And what our top ones were healthy snacking, organic foods, and eating clean. So we're going to talk a little bit more about those three trends. So healthy snacking, we're definitely seeing some snacks hitting the market that are new and different and unusual. So somebody had mentioned chia earlier as a trend, and chia is a trend. Chia is interesting because there are different quality chia seeds that you can buy. So when you're purchasing chia seeds, you want to really make sure that you're buying a good quality chia seed. But chia bars are one of the items on the trend. There's also chia cereals as well. Gourmet Jerky is another one. I don't know if you can see the top package, but it's black cherry barbecue pork jerky. So definitely some gourmet jerkies. We're also seeing turkey jerky, salmon jerky, chicken jerky as a healthy snack. Protein is in. This year we're seeing a lot of protein. Protein's in everywhere. Another good one is squeezed fruit and veggies. So we're getting kids to eat vegetables by making them taste like fruits. A company came up with the fruit and veggie pouches. These are really popular with families on the go that have kids. They're a little on the expensive side, but you can afford it. So healthy snacking is as we teach our communities is helpful and useful if done properly. So it's really important for young children. It can be really helpful for adults and teenagers. It helps prevent overeating. It helps us stay cognitively aware and be on our game. And a helpful guideline is to try to make sure that snacks include at least 2 of the food groups. So if it includes more, that's great, but we want to try to have it include at least 2 of the food groups. So as we apply, and for question 4 on your worksheet, what I'd like you to do, sorry, actually that one's not on your worksheet, but think about 3 healthy snacks that each include at least 2 food groups. And then I invite you to share some of the healthy snacks that you've created. And these can be for children or adults. Okay, great. We have ants on a log, celery, peanut butter, and peanut butter and apples. Excellent. Peanut butter, apple, hummus and pita, apple and cheese, and peanut butter and celery. Excellent. Thank you. So we have a scenario to talk about healthy snacks. A Head Start parent engages you in a conversation during a class that you're teaching about snacks that they can send their child to Head Start with. So their child is picky and will only eat foods with ranch dressing. They're in a dipping phase. So what would your appropriate response be? Type your answer in the chat box. Yeah, ants on a log is a good one because it has fruits, vegetables, and a protein. All right, give the parent the Cornell low-fat ranch dressing recipe. Good answers. So blanch the veggies and use reduced fat dressing and limit the amount of dressing. Good. Thank you, everyone. It sounds like people are making a lot of the low-fat dressing, ranch dressing. And then find out what else the child will eat and build up on that, or build from that. All right, so our appropriate response is to refer participants to the USDA My Plate, right? So to talk about eating a healthy, balanced meal. And we don't ever want to suggest that participants try a trend. So this isn't so much for the healthy snacking, but when we're talking about Atkins or gluten-free, or if there's not a specific health reason, we don't want to be promoting food trends. We just want to be talking about healthy, balanced diets based on the My Plate. So on your worksheet for number 4, write down a healthy snack that you'll prepare this week that incorporates at least 2 food groups. If it incorporates 3, you get bonus points. And then once you've done that, please raise your hand in the box so that I can tell that you're all set. Great. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so we'll keep moving. If you wouldn't mind taking your hand down. So the next trend were organics. Organics comes up a lot in the classes that I work with, and what I've observed with our FNEP participants is that they associate organic with healthy. They'll tell me in the beginning of a class, well, I can't eat healthy because I can't afford organic foods. So I see it as our role to talk to them about healthy options and what exactly organic foods are. And then there are also some choices that you can make when you're choosing foods about which to look for that are organic and which not to. So the word organic talks about the way that farmers grow and process agricultural products. So that includes fruits and vegetables as well as dairy products and meats. Organic farming practices are strictly regulated, so they have to follow a very strict guideline in terms of how food is produced. And the production methods are intended to encourage soil and water conservation and reduce pollution. So kind of in summary, they're better for the environment. So organics are better for the environment. They're not, farmers who use organic or who follow an organic protocol are not using conventional methods to fertilize and control weeds. And some examples include using natural fertilizers and crop rotation. There are some, like a small number of pesticides that are allowable in organic production. So it doesn't mean that they're pesticide free. And if you are, or if your participants are buying organic foods, I still encourage you to rinse them off and treat them the same way that you would conventionally grown produce. Because, I mean, depending on insect infestations, they could have used some product on them. So that's important. We'll go back a minute, but organic foods studies have not shown conclusive evidence that organic foods or organically produced products are healthier or have a substantially different nutritional value than commercially grown foods. Okay, so organic does not mean healthier than conventional, and that's really important. Oh, thank you. So someone just mentioned that the American Institute of Cancer Research has a really cool brochure that's called Everything Doesn't Cause Cancer. The takeaway message is that non-organic produce is healthy and an important part of the healthy diet. A tool that we can use that's useful when it comes to making choices about organic foods are the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen lists. So the Clean 15, that's the list of produce with the least pesticide residue. So some of the produce that we see in there are mushrooms, papaya, pineapple, eggplant, cantaloupe, and avocado, right? And cabbage and corn. So we're seeing a lot of foods, kiwi, that have a thicker skin. Often a skin that we don't eat, but not always. Note the mushrooms. The Dirty Dozen list, these you do want to buy organic, so these tend to have a higher amount of pesticide residue. So we've got apples, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, peaches, potatoes, strawberries, zucchini, sweet peppers, and these we can see are foods that we are going to eat the skin. So that's why it's really important to rinse them really well, or if you're making choices about buying organics at the store, look at the foods on the Dirty Dozen list, and those are good choices. So is it healthy? So organics are, they are often more expensive, but the methods are often beneficial for ecology and the environment. So if environmental sustainability is something that you're thinking of and that you're making choices around, then organics is a good choice. But because our participants are on limited incomes, it's not always an option for them, especially to go all organic. So just talking to participants that might be interested in organics and then talking about those lists and good choices to make if you do want to buy organic is a really good approach. Also, I encourage talking to participants, if possible, about going to farmers markets and using the WIC fruit and vegetable checks, because a lot of the time the small growers aren't necessarily certified organic, but they're using a lot of organic practices, and they're, they may be using a lot fewer pesticides, and their produce is locally grown, and also the money is staying in your community. So another scenario, a participant in your class tells you that she wants her family to be as healthy as possible. So organics comes up a lot, like I said, in our classes. So she buys as much organic food as she possibly can because she heard that organic food is better for her. So type in the chat box how you would respond. Okay. Good. All your choices don't have to be organic. If you need to save money, buy conventional foods from the Clean 15. Perfect. Yeah. So a question came in asking, so there's no science that states that organics are any healthier. That's nutritionally any healthier. So there's no substantial nutritional difference between organic and non-organic foods, research has shown. However, if you're looking at the health of the environment, organics are healthier. Right. And if it fits your budget and it's a personal choice and it's something that you want to do, then yeah, great. Good answers. It's such a good thing to talk about with people. So back to your worksheet. On question 5, this is where you're going to fill this in, but you're working with a participant to prepare a fresh garden salad. She wants to use some organic ingredients, but her budget is limited, so she's not sure what she can buy that's organic and what's not. So you're going to work through the list with her and write down 3 ingredients that you'd recommend that she purchase as organic if she wants to and she has the money for it. There's a question about getting a copy of the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen list, and yeah, I'll be happy to provide that. Also, this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on the FNEC website. Okay, so raise your hand once you've got your 3 salad ingredients listed. Okay, excellent. So our FNEP message when it comes to organics is to, refer participants to the My Plate, and don't suggest that they try a trend. So we're here to educate and inform. So next time you're out shopping, what I'd like you to do is compare the prices of organic versus conventionally grown foods at the grocery store and at the farmer's market the next time you're food shopping. And when I was researching this presentation, I saw some information that Walmart is actually working to set up a pricing structure so that organics are really similarly priced to non-organic or to conventionally produced foods in their stores. So there's increasing consumer demand for organics that we're seeing, and I'm really curious to see if Walmart, equalizing the price will increase the number of people purchasing organic foods. Oh, yeah, and somebody mentioned that Aldi's is carrying organics. That's a really good point. I'm an Aldi's shopper, and I bought their organics. So there's a lot of consumer demand for healthier food. So very proud of our culture. Eating clean is the next trend that was identified, and the principles of eating clean are to eat whole foods, avoid processed foods, eliminate refined sugar, eat 5 or 6 small meals every day, cook your own meals, combine protein and carbohydrates, and drink water, skim milk, and 100% fruit juice. Okay, somebody else mentioned grow your own organic food through gardening. There you go. That way you're getting some vitamin D, and you're getting some exercise, and you're growing your own food. I think the best way to do it, if you can, is to have a small garden. And our participants, I believe, can purchase seeds with their food stamps. So we can encourage seeds for fruit or vegetables with their food stamps. So we can encourage that as well. So alcohol and soda are not allowed eating clean, on the eating clean diet. So is eating clean healthy? What do we think? Yeah, sure it's healthy. It's really healthy. It's strict, but it's healthy. So under the not so clean photo, that is actually the butter sculpture from the state fair last year. Somebody else is typing in seeds and vegetable plants can be purchased with SNAP. So dairy is allowed on a clean diet, but in the form of skim milk. So for the apply, in number 6, answer the following questions on your worksheet. So clean eating involves eating healthy, whole, unprocessed foods. True or false? Eating clean eliminates the consumption of carbohydrates. True or false? And clean drinks are water, 100% juice, and skim milk. True or false? And then alcohol is allowed in a clean eating diet. True or false? So what do we think? The first one, clean eating does encompass eating healthy, whole, unprocessed foods. So foods in the least processed stage possible. So that's a true. Does eating clean eliminate the consumption of carbohydrates? Nope, it doesn't. It allows healthy carbohydrates, so especially complex carbohydrates. We're just not consuming sugars. So natural sugars, I should say it. So added sugars are not allowed. So that would be false. And then clean drinks are water, 100% juice, and skim milk. True. And alcohol is allowed on a clean eating diet. False. Here's our last scenario. A participant in a home visit tells you that they saw Gwyneth Paltrow on TV promoting eating clean and a detox diet. Your participant wants to know if she should try it. What's an appropriate response? Type a few answers in the chat box, and we'll talk about them. Okay. Oh, good. Make sure you don't have any health issues and ask your doctor to know how your body is. Maybe look for the reviews on her book. So it's always funny to look at Gwyneth Paltrow's latest nutrition recommendations for the public. She has some really interesting ideas. You can also say, I can't comment on this diet, but talk about it with your doctor. Excellent. Great. Okay, so the connection to clean eating and what we teach is that we want to talk to people about a healthy, balanced diet that's sustainable. So I think that's, so what's the message with clean eating? Yes, it's healthy, it's very healthy, but it's not necessarily something that we want to promote because it's not talking about moderation, it's very strict. We want to talk to people about moderation and the My Plate and the dietary guidelines and keep reinforcing and promoting a healthy lifestyle change as opposed to a fad that can come and go. And we do, though, also want to encourage our participants to use whole unprocessed foods and cook at home because that's better on their budgets and it's healthier for their families. So discuss at your table or with your region or the people around you one way to address participant questions having to do with starting a clean eating program. And then how we can connect that with FNEP. I always love hearing about our participants or hearing from our participants what they've seen and noticed and what they're thinking about. So if you have people around you, have a quick discussion, and if not, just think about it if you're sitting at your desk. And put your hand up when you're all ready to keep moving forward. I see hands going up, so we're going to move forward. And that actually concludes the presentation. So let me know if you have any questions. Type them in the chat box. Oh, who came out with this term? Clean eating? I don't know who came up with clean eating. That's a really good question, Liam. I'll see if I can find the answer and email it to you later. Does anyone have any questions about trends? Okay, so Sonia's asking what makes chia seeds a good quality and are more expensive foods better quality? And that's a great question, and I just saw it kind of in passing that there were different quality chia seeds, so I'd have to research that more to look it up. It was actually the first I'd heard that there were different quality chia seeds, but I guess it makes sense. And then there are some questions about when this will be available on the website, and I will email out the state to let you know when it'll be available. So hopefully within the next week. Okay, so here's a question about advising people to refrain from eating refined sugar. Can I elaborate? Sure. So we've heard of cleanses, sugar cleanse, and different cleanses, and we're seeing this year more than last year, sugar is kind of becoming the bad food to eat in terms of food fads, and the clean eating diet really jumps on that. So no sugar, no candy, no added sugar to drinks, no cookies, no chips, so no added sugar. What's good about the clean diet that Atkins didn't necessarily have is that it's promoting whole unprocessed foods, and it's supporting consumption of fruits and vegetables, so natural sources of sugar. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'll wrap up the webinar. And thank you everyone for participating and for joining us. And I hope you have an excellent weekend. And please feel free to email me. Here's my contact information, or call if you have any further questions. Oh, and also, if you'd like to save anything in the chat box, there will be a place on your screen where you can save it for later. Thanks, everyone. Bye.